Hey guys, I'm Leandra.
And I'm Ames.
And welcome to our channel. So yesterday, Ames posted a video talking about his top 10 favorite movies of the year and his least favorite movies of the year. And today, I'm going to be tier ranking the 30 books I read in 2024 for you all. So I have 5 categories, the top being faves of the year, maybe ever. These were my favorites. Next, we have Pretty Delectable. These were good reads, but not my faves. I have Like You, Not Love You. These were just kind of middle of the road books for me. Then I have Bleh, which is just like, you know? And last I have Would Leave to Burn in a House Fire. Okay, so the books I read are not in order down here, but I have my reading journal next to me, so I'm gonna do them in the order I read them because I just feel like that makes the most sense. So the first book I read in 2024 was Heartstopper Volume 2. I read Volume 1 at the end of 2023. Volume 2, I gave 4 stars. This book was cute, but there are definitely better books in the series. If you don't know me, I am a huge Heartstopper fan. I love the show, and I'm a really big Kit Connor fan. Ames and I actually went and saw Romeo and Juliet on Broadway because Kit Connor was in it. Heartstopper also feels very similar to Ames and I's story, so it's pretty emotional in that aspect. A lot of the themes and what Charlie and Nick go through are similar to the things Ames and I experienced in high school when we first started dating. So this story, not only because I love Kit Connor, but it hits so close to home that I have a special place in my heart for Heartstopper. So I'm gonna put Heartstopper Volume 2 in Pretty Delectable. I loved it, but it's not one of my faves of the year. Is that how you spell delectable even? The second book I read this year was Icebreaker. As I mentioned in our book haul, our first video, I am a slut for hockey romances. So when I heard about Icebreaker on TikTok, I knew I had to buy this book and I had to read this book. And when I tell you, I actually took the time to sit down and annotate this book because that's how much fun I was having reading it. And I know it has a lot of mixed reviews, but honestly, a little romance like this, there's not very much you can do in it that I will not enjoy it. So Icebreaker is getting faves of the year, maybe ever, purely because it's a hockey romance. Nate is like low-key up there with Garrett Graham for me. Love you, Nate. My third book of the year was the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. Now, I'm a big Grady Hendrix fan, but I'm kind of realizing I'm not a big horror girl. Like, I used to think horror was one of my favorite genres, but honestly, it has been such a miss for me in books recently as well as in movies. I think the issue is that a lot of horror just does the same things. However, this is irrelevant because I actually really enjoyed this book, so tangent. What were you for? I'm gonna put this in Pretty Delectable. There were definitely parts of it that I didn't enjoy, and I think it could have been a 5-star, but it wasn't. There you go. So book number 4 of the year was Legacies by Jessica Goodman. Jessica Goodman is an auto-buy author for me. So is Grady Hendrix, but Jessica Goodman is like, anytime she publishes a book, I'm on it, I'm getting it. I'm at the bookstore already. Sorry, wallet. This, honestly, instantly, faves of the year, maybe ever. At one point, I literally could not put this book down, and I read this book in 3 days. I could not put it down. I loved it. Love you, Jessica Goodman. My 5th book of the year was Heartstopper Volume 3. Where is she? This book was a 5-star for me. I really, really enjoyed this one. It's just gonna go in faves of the year, maybe ever. I love this series so much, and this one, I actually teared up at this one because there was a really emotional scene between 2 characters that I wasn't really expecting. So I really appreciated that, and it made me emotional. So instantly going to the top of my tier list. Book number 6 was Heartstopper Volume 4. So I was recently diagnosed with OCD, and getting to read Charlie kind of overcome those same struggles was a little hard for me, but also really important. Seeing that a character I love can have similar issues to me, but also can overcome those issues is really empowering. He does really struggle in the book and the show, but he's also a 15-year-old kid, and mental illness is, you know, a difficult thing no matter how old you are. But I like that this book normalizes mental illness and mental health issues, but also that anybody can have it and you never really know what anybody's going through. So to me, this book was really important and instantly going up to the top of the tier. The 7th book I read this year was Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. This is definitely something. I gave this book 4 stars. I had a lot of fun reading it. I think a lot of people forget that reading is supposed to be fun. Like, not everything has to be so serious and not everything has to be so important. Like, you can just read a book and then like never think about it again. And if you had fun, that was all that mattered. Haunting Adeline was one of these books for me. It was just a fun read. It's not for everybody, but I'm gonna put it in pretty delectable. That gun scene, that may be controversial, but there is one thing to find enjoyment in fictional scenes. I would be so disturbed if I saw that in the real world or heard about that in the real world, but it's fictional. It's weird, but it was fun. Sue me. Okay, book number 8 was Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi. I've been wanting to read this book for so long, and my brother got it for me for Christmas last year, so I've been kind of like picking away at it. I did read the first 2. Shatter Me was a 3.5 star read for me. It was not my favorite book I've ever read. I know the series gets better and I'm really, really invested in Erin Warner already. So I'm going to put this in Like You, Not Love You. I definitely think as I go on, they're going to get higher and higher. Speaking of which, Destroy Me by Tahara Mafi, which is a novella from Erin Warner's point of view, is going into pretty delectable. I gave that 4 stars. Love him. I can't wait to keep reading about them. I mean, like, lift your hips for me, love. Book number 10 was Apples Never Fall by Leanne Moriarty, I think. This was a blech book for me. It was okay. Dysfunctional family. There was no substance. It felt like there was no substance. There might have been, but I didn't feel like there was any, so blech. Book number 11 is Good Husbands by Kate Ray. I left this on a short film set and I was gonna DNF it, but then Ames bought me another copy. He wanted to like replace it because I left it on his set. Kind of wish I didn't finish it because it wasn't worth my time. I did give it a 3.5 stars, but it was kind of boring. Blech. It's another blech book for me. Number 12 is The No-Show by Beth O'Leary. This is like a fun little rom-com. You can't really go too wrong with a fun little rom-com. I'm telling you, there's not much you can do to make it bad. This was another 4-star read for me. I'm going to put this into pretty delectable because there was a plot twist that blew my mind. Book number 13 was Hester by Lori Lico Albanese. Sorry if I said that wrong, which I definitely did. This was a historical fiction book, and it's about Hester Prynne from The Scarlet Letter, or it's kind of based on her. And it's like a romance kind of vibe between her and Nathaniel Hawthorne. This book I would leave to burn in a house fire. Boring. Definitely not my genre. Number 14 was the nice and controversial Colleen Hoover's It Starts With Us. There is a lot of drama going on right now with Blake and
Justin Baldoni.
I don't think I'm ever going to read another Colleen Hoover book, but it felt incomplete to not read this one after having read It Ends With Us in 2022, I think, or 2023. This book wasn't bad. I was definitely rooting for Atlas throughout it. It's fine. I Like You, Not Love You. Meh. So book number 15 was A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. This was my first T. Kingfisher book, but I do hear a lot about them from Books and La La on YouTube. This book was fun. The narrator did a really good job of making me feel like I was best friends with the main character, and then I was kind of like hearing things from her as her friend. I'm gonna put this into Like You, Not Love You. I don't really remember what happened, which I tend to not when I read or watch anything, but I feel like a lot of these on the list I could like say something about, but this one, I don't have much to say. Okay, book number 16 was Here Goes Nothing by Eamon McGrath. This was like a 3-hour long audiobook. I just needed something to listen to while I was driving. Definitely would leave to burn in a house fire. 3 hours I'll never get back, so. Okay, book number 17 was A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. This book, I really thought I knew who the murderer was, and I was very wrong. I think that saved this book for me because I didn't really rate it very highly. I gave it a 3.5. I don't really know why. Shocker, I don't really remember much of the book. But the plot twist for me was really unexpected. So I'm going to put this into Like You, Not Love You. I like true crime vibes, so that was kind of giving that. So yeah, Like You, Not Love You. Book number 18 is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. You already know. She's going into faves of the year, maybe ever. I don't have to say anything else. So much better than A Court of Thorns and Roses. So much fun. I'm a Reese girl. That's it. Number 19 was a really disappointing read for me. It was Killjoy by Holly Jackson. I love the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. I think that is one of the most amazing pieces of literature ever, and the show really disappointed me. I gave this a 2 stars. I would unfortunately leave this to burn in a house fire. Love you, Holly Jackson, but I don't think you needed to write this. Read number 20 was You're Invited by Amanda Jayatissa. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I feel like that's a common theme with me. I'm just saying everything wrong. I read this book in California, and I think that like kind of helped with the vibes a little. Like, I believe part of it took place in California. I had fun with this. I don't think it was like the best thriller I've ever read, but I've also read some pretty bad thrillers. I'm going to put this into Like You, Not Love You. It was just kind of middle of the road for me. Book number 21 was The Wife Between Us by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Buchanan. At first with this book, I was really confused with what was going on. I'm like 100% sure that was the point. But then when I started to understand what was going on, I realized how much fun this story was. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna put this in a Pretty Delectable. Do I think it was better than A Flicker in the Dark? I don't really know, but we're kind of just going off of vibes right now. So
Pure vibes.
Pure vibes. Book number 22. Book number 22! The Grace Year by Kim Leggett. Definitely said that one wrong. This book, oh my god. Oh my god. I had so much fun with this book. I just don't, like, what can I even say? It was such a fun dystopian book, but like based off of real issues that kind of arise in our society, even though it's like dramatized. Like, faves of the year, maybe ever. Maybe ever. Book number 23, a book I had been wanting to read for a little while, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I'm going to tell you a little secret. If this book was turned into an adaptation, you best believe I'm auditioning for Iris. I don't even care. I don't even care that I'm not that good of an actress. Okay? I think I look like her. I don't know if it's me being Delulu or me being Delulu or me being like Delulu, but like, I am Iris E. Winnow. Pretty Delectable. I thought Ruthless Vows was a little better. Book number 24, My Sister the Serial Killer. I wanted to love this book, and I think that it had potential, but mama, I'm letting this burn in a house fire. This book had no substance. Nothing. I feel like it's not its fault. It was so short. It was, and again, like another 3-hour audiobook, but you can do stuff in a short amount of time, you know? And, you know, maybe I missed the point because I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl. But very disappointed with this book. I gave it 1.5 stars, so. My 25th book was Ruthless Vows. While I liked it better than Divine Rivals, I really don't think I'm going to put it in faves of the year, maybe ever. I think this is going to go right next to its sister and Pretty Delectable. Another Miss Holly Jackson book, The Reappearance of Rachel Price. This was my 26th book. See, when I'm comparing this to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, am I placing it on the same pedestal, or is it like one level down? You know, because if A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, that whole series was on here, that'd be in phase of the year maybe ever, because it is the maybe ever. Is The Reappearance of Rachel Price next to those gals? I think I'm gonna put this into Pretty Delectable, because honestly, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder knocked my fucking socks off. My little tootsies were out. This kind of like took my sock half off. Book number 27 was I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. I loved this book in the end, but the beginning kind of didn't do it for me. I thought the main character, her name is something that I don't know. I thought she was very insufferable, and if the main character is insufferable, the plot could be like 5 stars worthy, but it's automatically knocked down because you're supposed to want to root for the main character. Unless you're writing a book where you don't want to root for the main character. But in this case, we are supposed to. And because she was so annoying, I didn't care that she got what she wanted in the end. On top of that, the whole premise of the book is that she leaves these letters for the 3 people she'd kissed. And honestly, it's all irrelevant to what the ending is. Yes, it served a purpose, but I thought, somebody was gonna be dead or something. It was so high stakes for such a low stakes outcome. I loved the writing. I loved the queer representation. I know the author is part of the LGBTQ plus community. I believe they are non-binary. So I love reading queer rep from queer people as a queer person. I think if the main character was less insufferable and the plot was less high stakes for such a low stakes ending, it would have been higher. But I'm going to put it in Like You Not Love You. I also didn't like the love interest. I should probably mention that. She was in. Okay, number 28 is Heartstopper Volume 5. This is going in pretty delectable. Okay. Number 29 is Kiss the Sky by Krista and Becca Ritchie, which is book number 4 in the Addicted/Calloway's sister series, which is, honest to God, one of my favorite series ever to date. Ever to date? Ever? Ever date? Ever? This series has me in a fucking chokehold. I'm choking. I love this series, okay? Faves of the year, maybe ever. I want to put Rose and Connor in my pocket. No. That doesn't even. I want to fuck Rose and Connor at the same time. I didn't expect this, but I'm more of a Rose and Connor girl than a Lo and Lily girl. I think Rose is kind of more iconic. I love Lily and Lo, don't get me wrong, but Rose, mama, baddie behind you. And my last book of the year, to end on a sad note, is Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam. Very seldom do I find the adaptation better than the book, but this is one of those instances. Leave the world behind, girl, you left the plot behind, okay? There was nothing. I would leave this book behind and let it burn in a house fire. So here we are. These are my tier rankings. We have Faves of the Year, Maybe Ever. We have Icebreaker, The Legacies, Heartstopper Volume 3, Heartstopper Volume 4, A Code of Mist and Fury, darling. The Grace Year, Kiss the Sky, Kiss This Ass, in a good way. Pretty delectable, we have Heartstopper Volume 2, The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, Haunting Adeline, Destroy Me, You Did In Fact Destroy Me. The No-Show, The Wife Between Us, Divine Rivals, Ruthless Vows, The Reappearance of Rachel Price, and Heartstopper Volume 5. Like You, Not Love You, was Shatter Me, It Starts With Us, A House with Good Bones, A Flicker in the Dark, You're Invited, and I Kissed Shara Wheeler. Blech was Apples Never Fall and Good Husbands, and Would Leave to Burn in a House Fire was Hester, Here Goes Nothing, Killjoy, My Sister the Serial Killer, and Leave the World Behind. Well, thank you all so much for sitting through 30 books with me. I'm sorry if any books you really loved were low on the tier ranking, but reading is subjective, and, some of you probably loved Maxine, and Ames hated it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you didn't see Ames's video yesterday, go ahead and watch it. It's going to be linked in the description. Why not? See part 1 first. Happy reading, everyone. I hope you all have a happy, safe, healthy 2025, and thank you so much for coming with us on our journey of our YouTube channel in 2025. I can't wait to see where we are at the end of this year. But thank you so much for supporting us right now. It means so much. Even if you are our friend from high school or college, it doesn't matter. We love you all. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video.